I'm now going to show you how to set up a new customer. You go to customer, add customer. Just ignore that little message. Here you're going to put in your customer name. Now my first customer that I'm going to set up is Astronautical, P2Y Limited. This is the name that is going to appear on the tax invoice, so you want it to be the proper name of the company. Here you can use different categories for your customers. So if you have, let's say you've got once-off customers and you've got retainer clients. So whatever groupings of customers you have, these are the customer categories that you're going to set up. So I'm going to make this one a contract client. Contract client. I don't have an opening balance for them. And I'm not going to enter an opening balance there. If you have opening balances that you want us to bring in, please give the balances to myself or the subcontractor working with your account, that we can bring it in. It can sometimes be a little bit tricky. If the customer has a VAT number, you're going to put that in here. Okay. If there's a sales rep associated with the account, you're going to enter that here, and you're going to tick if they accept electronic invoices. Not very many smaller clients do, but sometimes the bigger customers do. Then this option is available if you want to allocate the payments automatically to the oldest invoice. Now, this is a very useful function if you don't have a lot of different invoices that you have for one customer, and it doesn't matter that much how the payments are allocated. However, if you have big amounts that you invoice, or the clients have very specific, they send you a remittance advice and you want to keep track of which invoices have been paid, which ones haven't been paid. If that is very important in your industry or in your business, you won't use this option. Here you will type in the postal address of the business. Well, we can just use that one. I don't know whose that is, but in any case. Let's say this person stays in Kyalami, and whatever the postal code is there, we will just pretend that we know. If you do deliveries and you want to print delivery notes, this can be a useful function. Usually this is not a really important thing for most businesses. Then the contact name is the person that you are actually working with, and this will be Astroman. And his email is astronaut@makebelieveland.com. Mobile phone, if you have it, you can put it in there. It's important that there's an email address here, and you're going to see now why. Because here you're going to choose how you want to distribute your statements and invoices and things like that. If you're going to choose an email and you don't have an email address, it will actually not allow you to save for that. You can have different options here. You can choose that you don't want to distribute it at all. You can print it, you can email it, you can print and email. Nowadays, mostly email. If you ever want to get a statement again, another copy of an invoice, anything like that, you can always do a reprint. So you don't really need to print a physical copy unless you need it for a delivery or something for the customer to sign on, something to put in a parcel or anything, something like that. Okay, this default discount code is if there is a discount associated with a specific client. So this client always gets 20% discount, 10% discount, 5% discount. Any business coach will tell you discount is a very bad idea, but there is sometimes a place and a time for discount. So if the client always gets this discount, you will put it in here. I will show you later on that you can also put it a discount percentage for a specific invoice or a specific line item if you don't specify it here. You can also, if you specify it here, you can also override it when you get to the specific invoice. Here you will look at your price list. We will show you how that works when we get to the items. This is a very, very useful thing. You can say this client is, you should always take standard VAT on it. If you do exports, you will choose this zero rate for exports, and so on and so forth. 90% of the time, if the client is registered for VAT, you will just choose the standard rate, 15% as the default VAT type. Here, you're going to set up your payment terms. So my default payment terms is 14 days from the date of invoice, but yours might be 2 days, 3 days. You can choose the day of the so many days from of the current month. You can choose that day of the following month, the end of the current month, or days from the end of the invoice month. So you've got various options here that you can play around with. That will differ from person to person. Okay, here you will be able to see the activity once there is actually activity on this specific client. Additional contacts. This is very useful if there's more than one person that you are working with, especially for the one person works with the orders, the other person works with the payments, and this is where you can set up extra people. You can just click on plus if you want to set up another line that you haven't entered before. Here you can enter notes. You can give an action date to the note. You can type in the subject and you can type the note. So this is useful. Let's say if you are doing, if the person made a payment arrangement, you can have the date that they made the arrangement. You can have an action date that you have to follow up on the 31st of whatever month. So this is very useful. You can also attach specific documents here. User-defined fields. If you want to use this, please let me know. Then I'm going to help you to set this up. Personal information. I see I can't click there. It's also something that's going to generate as you go along. Sales graph, again, will only be available as you start to use the account, as will quotes and sales orders, invoices, and report layouts. Report layouts, it will show you which specific layout that you're going to use for this specific client. So if you have different accounts or statement and invoice layouts, this is where you're going to choose for this specific client which layout you're going to use. And that is basically how you set up a new client.